Suppose you have several objects of varying sizes and shapes, and you want to pack them all into a box to safely carry them all. You may wonder if there is a method for doing this most optimally, and interestingly enough, this is an entire field of study in the world of mathematics. We will be delving into some of these packing problems in mathematics with a focus on geometric packing, such as circles and squares and rectangles. Packing problems study how to arrange objects inside a container without overlap, while maintaining maximum space efficiency. Let's talk a bit about the motivation and importance of this field of study. Packing problems arise due to real-world needs like storage and shipping optimization, along with efficient use of space in warehouses, memory management, and logistics. They also help mathematicians study optimization and geometry in a more concrete and applied way. Now, where did this all begin? The study of packing problems developed gradually over time within geometry and combinatorics. Its most famous early related work is Kepler's sphere packing problem from the 17th century, which we'll revisit later in this video. Modern contributions to this field include researchers like Eric Friedman, whose extensive cataloging of packing solutions has become a key reference point for mathematicians working in this area today. In terms of how this field developed, it started with simple shapes like circles and spheres, and later expanded to squares, rectangles, polygons, and even higher dimensions. Today, it encompasses computational algorithms like NP-hard optimization problems like the well-known bin packing problem.
Now that we've covered the history of the topic, let's move on to the mathematical ideas behind packing problems. The core goal is to find the best arrangement that minimizes empty space, with no overlap between objects. These problems rely heavily on fundamental concepts from discrete geometry and algebra. There are several major types of packing. Circle packing involves arranging circles of given radii without overlap. And efficient circle packing often leads to honeycomb-like structures. Sphere packing is the three-dimensional version of this, also known as Kepler's conjecture, which we'll get into later. Irregular packing deals with non-convex shapes or differently sized polygons, and bin packing involves placing items of various sizes into the fewest number of fixed-size containers. On the algebraic side, there are a few key preliminaries to understand. First, positions of packed objects are represented using a coordinate system, treating their locations as mathematical variables. Circle packings related to triangulation can also be described using systems of polynomial equations, derived from vertex and edge relationships. The Euclidean distance formula is frequently used to ensure no two objects overlap. And importantly, optimal packing layouts often involve irrational numbers, meaning the best positions can't always be expressed as simple fractions. Packing problems are also analyzed through the lens of bounds. Lower bounds indicate the minimum resources necessary. For example, the ceiling of the total size of all items divided by the bin capacity. Upper bounds provide achievable solutions, and algorithms like first fit decreasing are commonly used to find them. Beyond these basics, there are more advanced bounding methods. The Martello-Toth bound improves accuracy by examining item size combinations, splitting items, and analyzing subsets. And for large-scale instances, a technique called column generation is used to produce tight upper bounds more efficiently.
Now, let's dive into some specific types of packing problems, starting with one of the most well-studied, packing circles inside a square. The problem is, given a square of a fixed size, what is the most efficient way to arrange n circles with the largest possible sum of radii? For just one or two circles, the answer feels intuitive, but as the number of circles grows, even for small numbers, it becomes very non-obvious. Even with a small number of cases, the most efficient solution gets asymmetric and non-trivial very quickly. You can see some of these solutions cataloged by the mathematician Eric Friedman on his packing center, and they often involve more irrational coordinates, meaning there's no single clean formula, and each new value of n is essentially a problem on its own. This might remind you of this Suika game, which is a visual puzzle game available on your phone. It is a fruit packing game, essentially. It involves optimally dropping several types of fruits that will combine into larger fruits and so on. And you want to basically get as many drop fruit as you can without filling the screen. And so it's a packing problem with a physics component that you can play in real time. And it is cool that you can kind of mathematically solve that problem. There's also another famous packing problem, which is packing n squares in the smallest known square by minimizing wasted space, which you might have heard of. Here are some examples. As you can see, they're fairly trivial, but for more cases, a great starting point is something called the Gobel strips, where Gobel showed that there is a subset of cases that can be solved by placing a diagonal strip of squares at a 45-degree angle. And Gobel strips are really good upper bounds for those cases, and sometimes they're optimal, and even if they're not, they provide a good starting point to tilt squares slightly and find the optimal solution. Surprisingly, however, the best known packings for many values of n are more complicated. Many seem to require packing with squares at angles other than just 0 and 45 degrees. And there was a very famous paper by Paul Erdos and Ronald Graham that showed this in an when we try to pack unit squares into an a by a squares. Uh, when a is not an integer, which is often the case, a simple grid would just leave gaps along the boundary. So we need to tilt the squares to recover the wasted space. But if you think about it, there's only so much you can tilt the squares, and you're only mostly tilting the boundary squares. And the center squares are more in a lattice formation, which makes them harder to effectively be tilted. And so this idea was formalized by the Erdos conjecture, which is that if two equal squares lie inside a larger square without overlapping, the sum of their perimeters cannot exceed the perimeter of the container. This means a perfect packing is only possible for the trivial n square cases, otherwise the wasted space is unavoidable. That conjecture is why best known packings like these exist, where they are very asymmetrical, and symmetry is very unoptimal, and you have to tell the squares by slightly very slight amounts to fix mismatches locally. These problems also naturally extend to 3 dimensions or even more and come with their own peculiarities. For instance, the sphere packing problem in dimension 24 is actually solved, and not only do we have essentially infinite unique packing problems for each case of n that you could spend all your time on, there are countless variations of them, and there's a unique problem for each one of them in each dimension. So it's a super fun, very deep rabbit hole to explore.
Applications in conclusion. Packing problems have significant importance both in pure mathematics and in everyday applications. So let's talk about where this all shows up in the real world. Starting with shipping and logistics, packing problems are crucial for optimizing space in shipping containers and loading trucks. Minimizing wasted space directly reduces transportation costs and improves delivery efficiency. This is a problem that major logistic companies actively work on. In computer science and data storage, packing problems inform memory allocation and data processing, anywhere that limited resources need to be managed efficiently. The bin packing problem in particular has direct applications in cloud computing, where tasks of varying sizes need to be assigned to servers. Packing models also helped us understand atomic structure. In crystallography, sphere packing describes how ions, atoms, or molecules arrange themselves to fill space efficiently. Metallic crystals, for example, often adopt a close-packed arrangement that minimizes space and energy while maximizing density. Now let's look at some of the open problems in the space. You may have heard of Kepler's conjunction. Imagine filling a container with tiny spheres like marbles. Experimentally randomly pouring them in results in a density of about 65%. In 1611, Kepler proposed an arrangement that achieves a density of about 74.05 and conjectured was possibly based on it. It took about 400 years to formally prove that he was right. On the computational side, finding solutions to packing problems can be done through guessing, human trial, error, or more recently, computer simulations. These use algorithms like first fit, best fit, and generic algorithms to find best possible solutions both in 2D and 3D. In 2023, MIT researchers formed a new algorithm which was called the fast Fourier transformation, where faster and more accurate approaches were used. One particularly fascinating unsolved problem involves packing an infinite number of squares. A well-known result in mathematics is that the sum of 1 over n squared for all natural numbers n equals pi squared over 6. An open problem asks, can we pack an infinite collection of squares, each with side length of 1 over n, into a square of that of total area? It's been shown that they fit in a rectangle of that size, but the square case remains open. At best, we know that they can fit into a square just slightly larger than pi squared over 6 minus 1. This is connected to work by mathematicians Terence Tapp, one of the most celebrated mathematicians alive today. Packing problems are a perfect example of how a simple, intuitive question, how do you fit things into a box, can open us into a deep unsolved mathematics with real consequences for science, technology, and logistics. And as for algorithms and computer power continue to improve, we are only getting closer to answering some of these long-standing questions. Thank you for watching.